that which is unseen.
Dude, in what world is that okay? Like, what in the f is happening?
Whoa. Let's take a closer look at what just happened there. This clip occurred about 2 years ago in Overwatch 1 to Comboed OW, who is currently on Sigma and is dead on top of the elevator. You'll see that the Tracer steps on the elevator, and as it's going up, he respawns on Ball, falling through the map. With the help of another Overwatch glitch hunter, I was able to recreate this phenomenon, this time with Echo and Pharah. As you can see, the Echo dies on top of the elevator, and I step on at just the right time so that it's going up while the Echo is respawning on Pharah. The Pharah is then sent under the map, and we say hello to each other through a wall. After a bit more testing, we found out that Mei's ice wall can reproduce the effects that the elevator had on a respawning hero. We also found out that you can do this glitch on other maps. Sending respawning players who had swapped to another hero continued to be possible throughout the 2 Overwatch 2 betas, as well as the initial release of the game. Here's the glitch from the Mei's point of view. Recently I began diving a bit deeper into the statistics and workings behind the glitch. I consulted a lot of glitch experts and glitch hunters to help form a theory on what's going on when a hero is sent under the map upon their respawn. Let's take a look at some key statistics like the vertical speed of the player as well as their position on the y-axis. Throughout this clip there are some interesting points of data that are displayed very briefly on screen, but you'll have to be pretty quick to catch them even on 0.10 times speed. Only a couple frames after the wall is placed, the player's vertical speed briefly becomes 34.18 in the positive direction. Only a couple moments after, as the wall is moving upwards, the player's vertical speed becomes 0 as the position continues to increase. Then we come across the moment of respawn. This is when the player's coordinates are teleported inside the spawn room where they should respawn. And despite the camera looking like it's under the map, the player's y-coordinate is actually the exact y-coordinate that you should be at when you respawn in this spawn room normally. Immediately after the moment of respawning, a vertical impulse is applied to the player so that their vertical speed increases a lot in the negative direction. It peaks at negative 37.72 meters per second. Then the vertical speed of the player begins to go back to 0, peaking at negative 2.21. At this point, gravity takes over and the player begins to fall. Once one player gets outside of the map using this glitch, they can help teammates teleport inside of the walls, they can also explore outside of the map to their heart's desire, and in rare cases they can contest objectives from outside of the map boundaries. I've recorded a few example clips of things to do outside of the map, and while I play those for you, I'll be discussing my speculations on the inner workings of this glitch. I've separated my theory into 6 different phases. In phase 1, a Mei wall gives the player speed in the positive direction. This speed maxes out at 34.18 meters per second. In phase 2, the player's speed is then set to 0 by the game engine, and the wall continues to move upward. In phase 3, the moment of respawning occurs, and at that time, vertical speed is still 0, and the Y position of the player is set to 2.90 by the game, which is the normal respawn Y position for the specific spawn area in Hollywood. The camera does look to be under the map at this time, but the position of the player is what matters. In phase 4, despite the player's vertical speed still being 0 at the moment of respawn, the game applies a downwards impulse in an attempt to correct the upward speed given to the player by the Mei wall earlier. This impulse might be caused by the hero swapping, I'm not completely sure on that though, but what we do know is that the downward speed of the player peaks at negative 37.72 meters per second during this movement. In phase 5, the game senses that the player has exceeded the negative speed threshold, and it starts applying a countermeasure, which brings the player's vertical speed back to a peak of negative 2.21 meters per second. However, the player has already been sent under the map, so this correction is too late. In phase 6, normal gravity begins to take over, and the player is now falling to their demise unless they swap to a movement hero like Pharah. The missing piece in the puzzle of my theory is definitely the fact that the player straight up phases through the floor upon respawning. I don't really have an explanation for that, other than the outside chance that it's caused by the player's speed exceeding the negative threshold. There's also a good chance that I got everything I just said completely wrong, and that this glitch is caused by either random chance or a complete other set of factors. Another interesting thing to note about this glitch is that in Overwatch 2, the elevator version completely does not work. Instead, when you respawn, you're sent flying into the air for a short amount of time. There are definitely a lot of factors that make this glitch my favorite. It's very interesting in that it's not been patched for multiple years, it can be reproduced on any map, and also it can be done to any hero as long as you're swapping. And of course, you have the Mei wall. I'd like to end off the video with a quick thank you to all the viewers who have watched this far, and also a shout out to the people who helped me with this. There are some great glitch hunters out there, and they all have their own channels, so make sure you check the description for the links to those. Again, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to teach you something new in the future.